At Enhancing Live Personal Training here in Lexington, Kentucky, one big thing that we're known for is our retention. So that means we get people to show up week after week, month after month, year after year. Some of our clients have been with us for over a decade. And that is the missing component that most people are missing when they start their fitness journey because they have all these goals, but the first goal should be find an exercise routine that you can consistently do week after week, month after month, year after year, because without that, you won't be able to achieve your goals. So no matter what goal you may have, whether it's fat loss, pain freedom, building muscle, stronger bones, goals that you can sustain, not just have them be short-lived, you have to find a routine that you can consistently do, even when life gets crazy, even when you don't feel like doing it, even when you injure yourself, you still have to figure out how to continue to move. And the sad reality is only about 20% of people make it to that point where they find a routine that they can consistently do no matter what. And a lot of people who are just starting out will look at those people and think, whatever they have, I must not have. And to a degree, that is true. You don't have the motivation, but it's not the motivation that you're thinking. It's the motivation that takes time to build. It might not be felt till months down the road. And a lot of our clients went through that process. And this is what it looks like in real life. You start to work out with us, and all of a sudden you start to realize, I'm in less pain. I have more energy. I feel better. And you also start to make some connections that on the days where you have multiple days in a row where you're not working out, you're not moving, you feel worse those days. You have more pain those days. You have less energy those days. And you start to make the connection that on the days that you are moving, you feel better. And you slowly start to build this motivation because feeling good is very motivating. But the problem is most people have never felt that. So of course the motivation is not there. And then what happens a ton is someone will go on vacation, they'll get sick. We have a gym closure like Christmas to New Year's, and all of a sudden it becomes very clear what exercise was doing in your life. And you feel like shit. And you're like, get me back to the gym. And that's the experience so many of our clients have. The people that you see all the way at the end of the road doing something that you don't think is possible for you were once in your shoes. And they had to experience the difference for them to build that motivation. We have one client whose husband jokingly says, are you sure you're going to the gym? Because I have never seen you motivated to exercise. But her motivation was her knee pain. She had so much knee pain that she could barely walk. And when she started exercising a few months in, she saw the difference. And then she got sick and she traveled and a bunch of stuff happened and all the pain came back. So now she's super motivated to keep going. We had another client. She never exercised or strength trained before. And she had a surgery where she was told, you can't exercise for 6 weeks. She thought, no big deal. 2 weeks out, she marches into her doctor's office and she says, I don't care what you say. I need to get back to the gym because all these aches and pains are coming back and I need to get back to my routine. We have another client. She did it one time. She felt so achy from her arthritis that she almost canceled, but she didn't want to lose the $50 that she paid for. So she came anyways. And guess what? She felt a lot better. And that's when she started making the connection. Wow, every time I'm consistent and the more I come here, the better I feel. And we just got back from Christmas break where we closed down for a whole week. And she mentioned how every morning she was waking up achy and in pain because she didn't have her gym routine going on during the Christmas break. And I could go all day with stories like this. But what you don't see from these successes is that you don't see that these people had a ton of setbacks. Some people ghosted us for months, maybe a year, and then they came back. A lot of people start and stop. So our most consistent clients who come year after year, some of them started inconsistent. They started, they stopped, they ghosted us, but they kept coming. You didn't see the tears, the injuries. Even though no one has ever technically been injured in the gym, people get injured outside. A lot of sicknesses, caretaking duties, where now your time is completely taken over by something else out of your control, the fear, the anxiety. So many people went through so much to get to the end of the road. But what I think is important for people just starting out to understand is how someone got to the end of the road is most likely because they hired someone to help them, where they learned certain skills that they need to learn to be able to be consistent in the gym. They got the proper guidance because it's not what they do for a living. It's not part of their skill set or part of their knowledge. There's so much people don't know that is required knowledge to understand how to exercise your body, how to push your body in a safe way. And then also, most importantly, people went through an identity wiring. And what I mean by that is they had to completely change who they were as a person and how they identify, because we get so locked in on being a certain person. I'm not a person that tends to work out. I'm not an outgoing person. I'm not an extrovert. I'm really bad with X, Y, and Z, that our own beliefs of who we are stops us from being able to change. An example for me is I grew up very shy, very awkward, very introverted. And when I started public speaking in my early 20s, I would have to go into the bathroom and chug 2 glasses of wine so I could go out and talk to all the attendees. And I had this strong identity that I was shy, that I was awkward, that people would be able to notice, that I wasn't going to pronounce something correctly because English is my second language. I grew up in Guatemala. I didn't know how to do small talk. I didn't know how to network. I wasn't outgoing. I was all these things. And I really held on to that identity for so many years until I realized I could completely let it go and become a different person. Now, people have hired me to be the experience director that hosts events. And I sometimes make sure that everybody's having a great experience, that I am talking to everybody, I'm making sure everybody feels welcomed. And if you would have asked me 10 years ago that this is who I would be now, I would have laughed and thought, there's just no way. And the same type of beliefs are with someone who's trying to start working out. They're going to have thoughts like, I don't know what I'm doing. I feel awkward. Everyone's looking at me in the gym. I don't know if I'm going to do this right. I don't know if I'm going to hurt myself. I'm just not this person. I totally regret scheduling this gym session. Maybe I shouldn't have done this. I don't know if I'm going to be able to succeed. Everybody goes through this. And what makes this even worse is when someone is trying to change what they're doing and change their routine and change who they are as a person, they're usually trying to do this when they're already stressed, they're already busy, they're already uncertain about things, they're physically uncomfortable, they're self-conscious, they don't have the knowledge on the things that they need to do, they don't have the knowledge on the things that they need to know to be able to succeed. So something as little as the wind blowing in the wrong direction, they'll cancel their session because it's already too much. What we know about what shapes identity wiring is repetition. It's doing the same thing over and over again, even if you don't feel like it, even if you're scared, even if you're uncertain, even if you're having all those thoughts from the slide before. It's belonging to a group that's doing the same thing. That's why joining something like a gym or a group is so powerful, because you're able to build that motivation by having other people doing the same thing. And then the big one, especially in the beginning, is having someone notice you. If you don't show up to our session that you scheduled, we will notice. We will text you. For some people, just knowing that we're expecting them at the gym is enough for them to show up. But I'd be lying if I said that was enough for most people. Most people, the reason they show up, yes, it's because we're expecting them. But the big reason why they show up in the beginning when they don't want to, when they're scared, when they're uncertain, is because they don't want to lose the money. They don't want to lose that session. So even though they're having all these thoughts, all these uncertainties, losing money just becomes a little more painful than the thoughts that they're having. So they show up. And that showing up starts to change who you identify as a person. And it's through accountability, through someone giving you guidance, someone answering your questions, Going through all the setbacks and all the injuries and all the flare-ups is how you start to work your way up. And then your motivation starts to build. You start to make the connections. From Monday through Thursday, I feel pretty good. And I feel pretty shitty on the weekends when I don't move. And that becomes motivating. And that feeling gets you to keep going. But the problem is you don't know what that feels like until you're a few months in. And that's why so many people struggle sticking with something. So what do you need to do to get there, where you feel the motivation that keeps you going? Well, lucky for you, we made a quiz that will make you realize you're not lazy. You're not unmotivated. There's nothing wrong with you. You might just need some good guidance. You need a lot of questions answered. You need that strong accountability that will hold you accountable during the hardest part, which is the beginning, where you do not want to show up, where you're really scared, you're uncertain, you're regretting even signing up for the session. That might be what you need. By the end of the quiz, when you read the results and you read the descriptions, my hope would be that instead of looking at your next goal to be, I just want to be in shape, or I just want to build muscle, or I just want to lose fat, it's more, I need to figure out how to get guidance. I need these questions answered. What do I do when I get injured? Do I keep moving or do I rest? What do I do when something doesn't feel good? Do I keep moving or do I rest? What do I do when I haven't slept for 10 days because I'm caretaking my mom? What do I do when I travel every other weekend and I don't have access to the gym? And if you focus on the things that you scored low on, you will end up being that 20% that makes it.